welcome back to Novel Nomad and welcome to my slightly belated Jane Austen in July video. So I had this all set down to film in June, but I got slightly distracted by books. So I do apologise, this is a little bit late. But what I'll be doing today is going through the 7 challenges for Jane Austen in July, and I'll be linking Katie's video down below just to give you inspiration for any of the potential challenges that you would like to read or watch or do some fun things with. I will be giving you suggestions. So the main book that I will be reading for challenge 1, which is to read one of Jane Austen's 6 novels, is Emma. This is also the group read-along book. I really wanted to read Emma, and I have reread Emma, I should say, for quite a while because I read it very, very quickly when I was studying Emma at university, and I don't think I gave Emma the true appreciation that I could have at the time. So yes, this is the group read along, and I'm very excited to be reading Emma as one of the 6 novels as part of challenge number 1. But challenge number 2 might be a little bit harder, and that is to read a Jane Austen novel that's not part of those 6 novels. So I don't have any of the copies with me, but you could read Lady Susan, you can read Juvenalia. I think she did like some fun histories that they've published recently. Also her letters as well, some of the letters that they have left from Jane Austen. So there is quite a few little snippets that you can still read of her works, even though really the only thing we have left of Jane Austen is her main works. Challenge number 3 is to read a non-fiction about Jane Austen or about her time. Now this one would be quite interesting. I know there's a Jane Austen's England that you can read that looks into the Regency period, but one of the main ones is of course Jane Austen, A Life by Claire Tomlin. I have done some research into different Jane Austen biographies, and this one came up as the most popular option. So yeah, there's this one, which is a very, very good biography, very, very detailed, and it reads very easily. So if you usually don't read non-fiction works, this one's quite a good one to sink your teeth into. Next is The Real Jane Austen, A Life in Small Things. It kind of looks, if you've ever been to the Jane Austen Museum in Chawton in England, they have all the collection of some of Jane Austen's actual physical things that she owned, that she sewed, that she made. So this book really looks at those little collections of her possessions to try and uncover who she was, especially within the time, and different social status and things that she held dear that you can read into Jane Austen's belongings. So yeah, this one's quite an interesting look at a biography, kind of understanding the person through what they left behind. But yeah, so this one is also another wonderful option. And Paula Byrne also wrote quite an interesting one called The Genius of Jane Austen, her love of theatre and why she hit Hollywood. So it kind of tries to understand Jane Austen's love of the theatrical at the time, and her mentions of the theatrical not only in her work but also within her letters, and then why that is translated so well onto the screen, and why we have been endlessly fascinated with many, many reruns of Pride and Prejudice. Challenge number 4 is to reread a retelling of a Jane Austen novel. Now I haven't had too much luck in the ones that I've truly loved. For some different retellings, I have read a few, but one that I absolutely adore, it's not quite a modern retelling, but it is by a modern author, and that is Longbourn by Jo Baker. This follows the servants of Longbourn, and through their different relationship issues, you know, troubles at work, different conflicts that they have. This is absolutely astounding. I just adored this novel, and you really follow the girl who basically follows Lizzie, and she's not Hill who's the main maid. She's the other one, Sarah, and it just follows this amazing story of Sarah's life in the Longbourn house. Of course, I will try to pick up a copy of a retelling that I haven't read, and the amazing thing is there's so many retellings that are happening from diverse voices. I think the one that I really want to pick up is called Aisha at Last. I don't have a copy, but it's coming in from my local library, so I'm waiting to get my hands on that one. Challenge number 5 is to read a book by a contemporary of Jane Austen, so someone who was writing during Jane Austen's time, and that was, I think the date range given was 1775 to 1817. And I chose, because it just snuck in at 1778 when it was originally published Evelina. So what I do love, I have done a full review of this, which I will link down below, but it is such a lovely novel. It's all written in letters or an epistolary novel form, and which was an acceptable way for women to write, or to write as a female main character, because that's how Jane Austen really broke the mold a bit. It's because she wrote from a third person perspective on female main characters and giving voice to their inner thoughts, where this is allowing women's voice, inner thoughts to come through as letters. So it was still an acceptable format for women to write in, but it does look at the struggles that a young girl has to go through when she's not quite out in society, and she kind of gets swept up into London society in 1770s, which is endlessly fascinating. So go click on that if you want to know more of my thoughts on that one. It is quite an old review, so please excuse the lighting in that one. Number 6 is to watch a direct screen adaptation of a Jane Austen novel. Now, of course, Emma has just recently been released, and there's so many wonderful options. Obviously, all the Pride and Prejudices, they're wonderful, but of course, the Colin Firth and Jennifer Eel one is by far my favourite. But if you don't have 8 hours up your sleeve, please feel free to watch the Keira Knightley one. But yeah, there's so many wonderful retellings. I truly do love the Persuasions from, I think it's the Persuasion from the 90s, and also the more recent Persuasion. And then I do like the more recent versions of Emma. Probably, I haven't seen the most recent version. That's going to be my watch for this month. But the one with Romula Garai was absolutely one of my favourite Emmas. I just think you got more of the characters in that one. And Sense and Sensibility, Emma Thompson's movie, as well as the more recent ones featuring Dan Stevens as Edward Ferrars, are both wonderful adaptations. And lastly, challenge number 7 is to watch a modern screen adaptation of a Jane Austen novel. Now, this could be Bridget Jones' Diary. It could be, what was it, The Bride and Prejudice, which is really fun. So there's so many different options. I think there's Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I didn't enjoy that one, so but if you want a zombie movie featuring Regency England, go for it. But otherwise, it's very, very fun to find out some amazing movies that have been influenced by a Jane Austen novel. One of my favourites is Clueless, which is a 90s teen drama, but it's a retelling of Emma, which is super, super fun. But yeah, so there's so many options. Go discover some amazing movies as well. So thank you for joining me for my very quick video of Jane Austen in July. I do apologise that it's late, but let me know if you're participating in the group readathon of Emma, or if you'd like to know a little bit more about any of the books that I mentioned today. And I'll see you all soon. Happy reading. Bye.